William Winters, and today I am going to be talking to you about the importance of kids having jobs. Now, before I get started, I would like to clarify what I mean by child. I'm referring to the age group of 7 to 13. So to start, do you guys remember, or did you ever have a first job? Yeah? Okay, well, do you remember the first thing that you bought with your hard-earned money? Yeah, I'm still putting that nods. Okay, so the New York Times did an article where they interviewed random people from off the street, and their findings stated that the memories from their first job stuck with them throughout their life, and it played an effect in who they ended up being and who they grew to be. So having a childhood job is about more than just making money. It's about making memories and learning life lessons that will stick with you and shape you into the person that you will one day be. So to start, why is it important for children to have a job? First off, it teaches them life lessons like self-discipline and responsibility. It gives them a place and a time to be there, a place to be, and a job to do that they have a set time limit to get done. It also teaches them money management. So when they get paid for the job, it teaches them that, yeah, they can get the money and go to the store and buy some candy, or they can save it up and over time buy a bike or something. It also teaches them time management and organization. It teaches them to use their time wisely, and especially when you get into high school and later on in life, you're gonna have sports and work and school to kind of juggle. So if you have a job when you're a child, it's going to teach you how to kind of manage those things. It also teaches you how to take and fulfill orders. A lot of people struggle with someone telling them what to do and getting that done. They kind of view it as disrespectful if someone's telling them to do something. If you have a job when you're a child, you're kind of used to it, and it'll help you out a lot over time. And also how to adapt to new circumstances. And this one's really important because over the course of your life, you're going to be asked to adapt to a lot of new circumstances. You're going to be thrown into different situations, and you're going to have to be like a cat, kind of land on your feet and get everything figured out. So secondly, it gives you a sense of pride. And I actually have a story about this. When I was about, I think 7, it was the first time I remember really having a job, and my dad asked me if I wanted to go help the roof, and I said yeah. So we go up there, and when we got to the house, they had already tore it off the day before, and I asked him what my job was going to be, and he pointed to a big old pile of shingles, and he told me to take all the shingles off the ground and throw them in the back of the dump truck. And I was 7, I'm short now. I was like this tall. So that stack was definitely bigger than I was, and the dump truck was like 20 feet tall. So they went up on the roof and they started working, and I remember going over to the pile and thinking it wasn't possible to do. But I started picking them up and throwing them in the back of the dump truck, and eventually I got about halfway through the pile, and I kind of gave up, and I sat down on the sidewalk, and my dad got off the roof, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something to the effect of, if you give up now, you'll never know if you could have done it or not, and once you complete it, you're gonna feel something. And so I remember he goes back up on the roof, and I jump up, and I'm kind of energized, and I finished the job, and they came down off the roof, and they were telling me that they were proud of me for doing it and pushing through, and I got filled with like a sense of pride and accomplishment. And that's actually the next one on the list, is it fills you with that sense of pride, and that builds confidence. And confidence is a tool that is very hard to get for some people, but it's necessary in being successful. So if you are not confident in yourself, it's really hard to take risks, to open up doors that will put you in positions to be successful. It also will teach them to appreciate how hard others work. So I know that's especially true for my situation. When I was younger, I didn't really look at roofing as something difficult. I kind of saw it as cool because you got to be on the roof for a few hours. But after doing it, it's pretty tough, And I definitely have more respect for people who do jobs, even though I've never personally done them. I can understand how difficult it can be. So it definitely helps in the sense that it'll make them more respectful. How will having a job affect them throughout their life? Now, Boston University had a quote that I thought was interesting. They said that children that have jobs when they are young grow up to be the nation's leaders. And they kind of went through and gave a list of reasons why, and it was just a really cool little article that they did. And some reasons, or some ways that's true, is that it builds a work ethic. So when you are young and you start out working, then it'll kind of, like I said, build that pride in you, where you take pride in the work, and eventually you don't view work as something terrible. It's more of a job that you can get done, that you take pride in. And it'll teach them skills that they can use for the rest of their life. And when you learn more skills, especially at a young age, it'll make you more independent, so that you're able to kind of take care of yourself, and that's a really good trait to have. Now, as we move on, I'd kind of like to look at what if a child doesn't work when they're young? What could be some of the effects of that? And the University of Miami actually came up with a list of some pretty good examples of effects that not having a job can have on you. And the number one thing was respect. And like I said earlier, having done that job, it makes you kind of respect how other people do it and how tough it really is. So if you do not have that job, then you can definitely struggle with respect. Also, learning how to do new tasks. When you start out young, you're nervous to start the job or whatever, and you kind of get thrown into that situation, and you learn that if you pay attention and if you try your hardest, eventually you're going to figure it out. So it'll help you know and give you that confidence that you can learn new tasks. Also, it said that not having a job affects their motivation to work, so their work ethic wouldn't be very good. And a big one was balancing their schedules. Like I said, going on further down the line, you're going to be asked to balance a lot of different things in your life. And if you had a job when you were younger, you're kind of used to that, and it'll really help you out in the long run. They're also going to miss out on that pride that comes along with buying something with your own money. So they're going to kind of miss out on that feeling of working hard, earning the money, and getting what you want. Because I think you really appreciate and value the things that you buy more. And also the last thing was that jobs keep a lot of kids out of trouble. So if the kid doesn't have a job, they could do some pretty bad things with that extra time. And it can be negative in kind of shaping how they are as individuals. So just to kind of review over some of the topics that we went over, it teaches a job as a child, teaches self-discipline and responsibility, money management, time management, how to take and fulfill orders, how to adapt to new circumstances. It builds confidence, and confidence will, like we said, open up doors in the future for you. It teaches them to appreciate how hard others work. It builds their work ethic. It teaches them new skills that makes them independent. I hope that over the course of this speech, I was able to teach you the importance of children having jobs and how something so simple can help mold them into hardworking, motivated, respectful members of society. Thank you.